Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. I've been asked in my last video I did was basically an inbox review of the new Vulcan from Airfix. This one here, okay, which is kit number A12011. And a lot of people seem to be very excited about it, including me. So there's been a few comments about Airfix quality. I know where you're coming from, but I really do feel, as I said in my review, I do really think they've stepped up the game with this one. As I've said, the plastic is not that horrible soft stuff that we're used to. We don't have all the very soft lines. Everything is crisp. And the best thing of all, we don't have that horrible rough surface that we're so used to. I mean, you can tell by the riveting on here. You know, this plastic is not the soft sort of normal stuff, and you can also see by the sheen on it that it's not that horrible grainy finish. Certainly, you know, even if you're really going with the white or the camouflage version, whatever, this is plenty good enough to lay down a coat of primer or straight into your paints or whatever. No issue whatsoever. The finish is the same as Tamiya or anyone else. It's not as shiny or as hard as Hasegawa, but it's certainly on a par with Tamiya plastic, I would say. So I've been asked to do a comparison of the old and new kit. So I have here the old kit, which I've had for many years. It's very simplistic. It's very difficult to work with. It is nicer plastic than the newer Airfix stuff. This is very similar to the new kit, to be honest. It's not like the soft plastic you got with the Hellcat, but it's this kit comes with all raised panel lines. You can see I haven't gone around the nose yet, but we can see here, if we go close up, you can see we've got raised panel lines everywhere, raised details, and it all needs to be rescribed, which I've done. I've rescribed everywhere. That's easy to do. Haven't gone around the nose yet because it's the hard bit. And as I said, for a bit of a joke at the beginning of my last video, it does just wear you down because you're forever scribing and checking and seeing. And now I see that straight away on this kit, we can see that on the lower wing surfaces, you can see we've got a lot more scribe detail on there than we have on there. Now, as I said in my review, I feel this detail is a little heavy, maybe a little deep, but once it's had a coat of paint on it and a wash and everything, I think it's going to look great. But we can see there is a lot more surface detail on the new kit than there is on the old one, all this stiffener detail around here. If we compare that, on there you can see all the stiffener detail around the front of that wheel bay, which on this one you don't have. It's just like a raised area. Detail on those two little lumps of bumps is the same, or these look a lot more realistic than those. As I say, but basically it's just a lot sharper. Really, it's just cleaner, and obviously having the recessed panel lines makes a big difference. On this one you're actually getting a clear landing light, and on this one it's just a scribed circle. So yeah, there we go. The other big beauty of this kit, of course, is with the old one you are joining this wing to the fuselage like so, so you've got a great big seam to deal with, whereas with the new kit the wing and the fuselage are all in one, so you've just got a seam down the middle, which is going to, on the underside is going to be next to nothing, because you've got this bit behind the bomb bay, this bit in front of the bomb bay, that's it, and then you've got the nose piece here. So all in all, you know, sort of wing section, vast improvement. If we check for profile, we will see that they match pretty well, pretty much perfectly in profile. If we look there. Okay, now the older kit has integral ailerons and the newer kit doesn't. But we will see on here, come on, line up. If I get that lined up like that, you can see that the actual flap area, or sorry, the elevator area of the older kit is smaller. You can see the actual, it's not as deep this way and it's not as wide. And also the same with the ailerons. So either they've got this one wrong or the old one's wrong. More than likely the old one's incorrect. But there you go, that's the only real difference there. So you have got a bit of a size difference. Again, when we look at the upper wings, let me just get this one out of the way. When we look at the upper wings, you can see we've got a lot more scribe detail than we did on these. All I've done here is copied the raised detail. But you can see we've got all these lines here. I'm assuming they're correct. You know, this isn't like a Eurofighter with, with carbon fibre panels and stuff. That would have been sheets. So I'm guessing because it's got it on the underside, it should have it on the upper side too, but it doesn't. So there we go. We've got all these lines here on the fuselage, was the upper fuselage. Yeah. So as you can see, if we talk about the upper fuselage in comparison, so unwieldy, it's huge. You can see we've got all the scribe lines here, which I've had to rescribe here. The shape of these fairings over the engine's exhausts looks a lot better there. It just looks more accurate. I'm not sure that it is, but it looks it. We don't have these vortex generators on the older kit. We also, the air brakes on the newer one are separate, and on the older one it's just a line representing them. And that's really about that. The lumps and bumps and stuff are all going to be added onto this, whereas on this one they're sort of moulded on. But there we go. You know, the Vulcan aficionados out there can tell me in the comments below, you know, which is correct. Is it this one or is it this one? So that just looks a lot neater to me. So there we go. Oh, the other difference I've noticed here is you've got this fairing here is fairing out, and on this one it just goes straight. So obviously they're including that on the tail section of this one, which is here. So that's going to slot into there like so, but it doesn't have that faired out area. You can see on there it just comes in. It's slightly faired out, whereas on this one it's a lot more exaggerated. So again, I don't know which one is correct there. Probably the newer one. So that's the upper wings looked at and the lower wings. When it comes to the fuselage, let me get to the sprue with the fuselage halves in it. Oops. Here we go. So we look at the nose section. Straight away we can see, obviously we've got our engraved panel lines, and we've got this area here on the side of the cockpit, which is on here, looks a lot more clumsy. We've got this area here, which is going to be glazed. I imagine on here it's just marked out with a circle. That's going to be like a viewing port for the three guys sat behind the pilots. So straight away you can see the nose shape looks slightly different. This one kind of looks more bulbous in this area, whereas this one looks like it's coming in a lot smoother. And if we compare the nose there, you'll see what I mean. If you can see that in the shot, I think you can see what I mean, but this one looks a little more bulbous. So I'm assuming the newer one is correct. We should never assume, it's an ass of you and me. But there you go. And of course you've got this different construction where you're going to have a seam here to deal with on the newer one, whereas on the older one you've got these huge seams down here to deal with, but you'll also have a seam down here. But it's only going to be, where are we talking? It's only going to be like from there to there, because you've got the tailplane, the fin. So, and on the bottom, as I said earlier, you've only got the two small areas. 1983 this one, so yeah, good 40 years old almost. So you know, you'd expect a new one to be better. So there we go. So that's that. I also noticed as well, if we go back to those lower wings, these fairings are a lot finer on the newer kit. So it looks like everything on the older kit was a bit chunky, and the newer kit is more refined. But as we all know, guys, with the B-52s, it seems as you start at 72nd scale with the old monogram B-52D, and every kit that's come out since has got progressively worse. So although you could argue that the model collector is better than the AMT, but you know what I mean. So there's nothing to say this is right just because it's new, but it just looks a lot more refined, as you can see. And as I say, the Vulcan fans out there, the people that know this the inside out, please feel free, comment below. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But that looks a lot better than that. So there we go. Now obviously when we talk about cockpit interior, this is what you're getting with the old kit. A couple of seats that are just going to sit on a floor. What have we got in here? It's a very simple kit. I'm guessing that's it there. So that's going to be your cockpit floor on the older kit, and you're going to get a couple of seats like that to sit on it. And correctly, they've got the top of the headrest there angled off. I did watch a video, and they said apparently Vulcan pilots often have a crick in their neck because they're forced to sort of, the guy sat on the right is always sat there with his head leaning to the left, and the other, and vice versa for the other guy. And there was one mission, they were 16 hours or something. Sod that. So that's what you're getting with the old kit. With the newer kit, obviously you're getting this lovely cockpit floor. You've got the area behind for your 3 guys sat behind. You can see you've got seats with harnesses, you've got rudder pedals, you've got very nice seats there. You've got proper ejector seats for the pilot and the co-pilot. So it's a lot nicer inside. Saying that, you're not going to see any of it, but if you are looking up from underneath, you will see the yellow ladder and everything in there, which is going to be quite nice, which obviously you don't get in the old kit. In the old kit, you're just going to have a big black hole. So there we go. So that's that. You've also got, with this kit, you've got the option of having the flat nose or the little dome nose, which this one has, with the refueling probe. I don't think that's mentioned in the instructions. We've also got that one there, which is just no refueling probe with a bulged nose. So you can have that nose with nothing, or you can have that nose with just that nose with that and the fueling probe, or that with just the fueling probe. So, but it's not talked about in the instructions. So there we go. So that's something else. And also, if we look at this area here, now we can compare this little viewing area. You can see that funny enough, the older kit has some location in there for a ladder. This one doesn't, so maybe you're going to add that in afterwards. Although you've got those side panels here, which are going down the sides of that entrance area, and they've got a little bit of detail on them, as you can see. So there we go. Oh, another thing to look at while we're here, obviously the new kit has a fully detailed bomb bay with a complete loadout of bombs, should you wish to display it. The old kit doesn't. You either have it closed or you have the blue steel, and that's it. So there we are. The other beauty of this one, of course, as I mentioned, I've never seen this on a kit before. Fantastic idea. Thumbs up to the guy that thought of this. You've got a fully enclosed nose section here, 2 parts that go together. Then they glue onto the front part of the cockpit, and then they fit inside the nose. And the idea of that is you're making up like a sealed chamber to put your weights in. So you can put some weights in there, some lead or whatever you want to use. And you can glue it in with some super glue. Don't use white glue. And then basically that is a sealed area, and if the glue breaks loose, or if your weights break loose, they're not going to roll around inside the fuselage. They're going to be captured within there. It's a fantastic idea, and I wish other manufacturers do it. I expect other people will grasp on the idea now. It's brilliant. So so there we go. So that's that sprue taken care of. Put these back in this box. Intakes, pretty much of a muchness really. The intakes I've built on here, you can see I've added them in and given them some support so that I could get them filled and everything. But basically the intakes are going to be pretty similar. You've got a seam down each side. This one has, you're going to have the seam down the middle, but this one has a separate splitter section, so you're going to also have a seam round there. So it depends how well it's going to fit, but sort of much of a muchness really. They're kind of, unless they go resin, they're kind of stuck with what they got really. There's nothing else they can do. Engine intake detail is a lot nicer. The engine intakes are going to still be on the sprues for the older kit, which are in this bag over here. Where are they? They're going to be in here somewhere. Just get all this out on the bench something. This is a mess. So there's our intakes. So you can see the old kit compared to the new kit. There's the intakes there. So they're a lot nicer on the newer kit. Accuracy, I don't know, but there's just more to look at, more to highlight with dry brushing, and it's just going to look better on the whole. So there we go. And then obviously we've got this area here, which is the sides of the bomb bay, and you've got this panel here, which is this panel here. So you can see that's also a different shape. This is the older kit, And they've also got the part number moulded on the outside, which is a bit strange. They could have put it on the inside, but you can see there's a lot of difference in the form of that there. So the blue steel missile, which here is assembled, this is from the older kit, that will sit in, it does actually fit on the new pod. So there we go. So obviously the newer blue steel missile will fit the old pod as well. And as I say, all this bomb bay detail you've got here, and these massive stiffeners for the wings, and then all the undercarriage bays and everything, you know, you don't get all that on the old kit, but you do on the new one. So have we got any detail here of the undercarriage bays? Because I've actually cut mine out and replaced them with resin, so yeah, we don't have anything here, unfortunately. We can look at the gear doors, but we can look at the wheels. So here we go. These things here fit in between the engines. They go in here, like so. If somebody can tell me what they are, I'd love to know the name of them, please. Right, so there we go. So obviously with the new kit, as I say, we're getting undercarriage bay detail and everything that we don't get in the old one. As you can see on this one, I've got the resin from Wolfpack. I've got the resin nose gear fitted, but we'll talk about more of that in a second. So there we go with that one. Here we've got all our elevators and bits. So this is the top of the fin. They don't talk about this one, but this is the fin you need for the black book, is it? People have been talking about that in the comments. And also, as I say, these things here that I don't know what they're called, you get the 3 options in here. In the old kit, you only get the 1 option. And there we go. And obviously on the old kit, this is all moulded in. I've cut them out because I've got the Wolfpack kit, so I've cut them out and sanded everything smooth. But you can see that on this kit, the ailerons are actually moulded into the upper wing section, so they're fixed. You can't do anything about that unless you want to cut them off. Whereas on the older kit, on the newer kit, sorry, they're separate, so you can have them. And they even tell you in the instructions the maximum angles you can have up and down. So there we go. But as we can see, we've got the fin there as well. This is the fin off of the older kit, obviously scribed. So you can see there the shape. The shape is different. This one sinks down. You can see this one is sunken into the fuselage, whereas on the newer kit it's sat on top. So this one looks deeper around the front, but it's because it's sunken in. But the actual shape of it overall looks pretty much identical. So, you know, they probably got it right to start with. A lot of these older kits are right on overall shape. But you know, you obviously got the ascribed detail in there, and this one's raised. But other than that, on this one you get a separate rudder, and on this one it's all moulded in one, and I've cut it off, as you can see. So there we go. So that's that one taken care of. Blue steel. Okay, you can look at the, where is it? It's here. This is the old one versus the new one, and as you can see, this is a lot more detailed. This has just got some very, very faint raised detail on it, and this has got scribe detail all over it, and it's got a lot more detail on it than this one has. And also with this one, you're getting stencil detail for it, stencil decals for the blue steel as well. So there we are. You can see the difference there. That's the upper side. Okay. And with this one, you're obviously getting separate. I'm guessing they're going to be like elevators or ailerons sort of thing, flaps, whatever, I don't know. And then on here you've got the separate tails, as you've got with this one, the separate fins. So there we are. And then here you've got separate tail sections for the, well, you do get that on the older kit as well, for the tail of the aircraft. Okay, so looking on here, we've got, this is all stuff that you don't get with the newer kit. So, you know, you've got all little greeblies here and everything that go on. You've got some FOD covers there, and you've also got air brakes here, which you don't get with the older kit. On the older kit, all you get is a scribed line, or a raised panel line on the older kit, unless you scribe it yourself. Right, so here we go to the little detail-y bits. Looking around the exhausts, so we can see, where are the exhausts? We may not even have any, they may just be holes. These exhausts are going to be a lot better. One of the issues with the old kit is the exhausts are a bit... So where are they? They're in here somewhere. Unless I've just cut them off. Looks like I've just cut them off. and got rid of them because I've got 2 lots of resin ones. So we can look at the landing gear. Actually, look at the tail cone first. There is an issue with this one. It has errors. So because I've got a resin replacement. So basically the shape of them looks pretty much the same. Although remember, this one is shorter. It's got this bulged area is actually part of the fuselage, as I mentioned earlier. And it's also got this end piece moulded on in one. Although, as I say, on the blue steel sprue, you are getting this end here. So obviously it can be cut off and replaced. And yes, there is a line in there for you to cut it by the look of it. So there we are. In fact, we've got another end there. There's a lot of bits and pieces in this kit that aren't talked about in the instructions. It's going to be for further variants going down the road. So yeah, that's looking at the tail. Looking at the wheels, we can see our nose wheels there. The tyres are a lot flatter on the sides, as you can see, new on the left, old on the right. And the wheel detail looks pretty similar, but it's certainly sharper on the newer kit. I don't know, looking at that, maybe the older ones look better, maybe look a bit fatter, and I don't know. They just look nicer. They may be less accurate, but they look nicer to me. That's certainly easier to paint. And then we look at the main gear. We can compare that there. So we've got the main gear there compared to the old kit, and certainly in that instance the newer kit is a lot nicer, much sharper, better detail. Gonna look great under a wash. So there we are, that's those. Obviously the back sides are nicer as well. They also look slightly smaller, don't they? Not sure. And then undercarriage, you can see here we've got our undercarriage legs here. So there's your nose gear there. And the first thing you see is it looks a lot smaller. It's shorter, and it's much smaller, look. And then the main gear, the newer kit has the ends separate. The older kit has it all in one. But we can see there again, it looks like it's a lot shorter. Where are the ends of the main gear? There. So it does look like it's the landing gear on the older kit is shorter. So there we go. Landing gear doors, detail on the back of the doors. You can see here it's a lot better on the newer kit. You still have the ejector pin marks, yay! But there we go. And then the ladder, you can see the ladder, the entry ladder is a lot finer. This is the new one, this is the old one. You can see the entry ladder is a lot finer on the newer kit, as it would be. And I think that is about that, really. Looking at the exhausts, I've got resin ones here to compare to. So we can see there, we'll look at this in more detail in a minute, but we can see they look a lot better. The plastic exhausts on the older kit apparently are awful. So there we go. And obviously Airfix would have known that, because probably every man and his dog has told them. So I'm guessing that the newer kit, they've gone to the effort of getting it right. Canopies, clear parts, they're probably going to be identical. No, let's get this one open. Where's my knife? Where's my knife gone? Who's nicked my knife? Here we go. Let's have a look at this one. So canopies look quite a lot different in the bag. Maybe when I get it open it'll be a different story. Why can't I open this? Come on. I sellotaped it shut so that it wouldn't get damaged. So this is the new, this is the old. As you can see on here, they've grained the plastic to show you where to paint it. And also all you're getting is on the older kit, you get the canopy, and you're getting that viewing window from underneath. I don't know if that's a viewing window or a camera or whatever. You can see on the newer one, you're getting a lot more, all your lights and everything, your landing lights. But you can see on here the canopy is, it's an optical illusion. I thought it looked a lot wider, but you can put them next to each other there like that, and you can see that the newer one, it's going to be a lot easier to paint. It's got moulded on wipers, which is a shame because the aftermarket are going to jump on it with photo etch wipers, which I've already got here, and removing them and having the canopy polished is going to be difficult. So so yeah, maybe the old canopy on the new kit would be a better option, although it's not as nice. You can see it's very if we catch it there, you can see in those side ports it's got it's like scratch marks inside the plastic. You can see on the front there it's nothing like as crisp. And as I've just cut it out of the bag, so it isn't like it's been rattling around or anything, and there's nothing else to rattle around with. You can see that this one is a lot nicer for clarity and everything. Okay, so as you'd expect, the new one is nicer. But shame about those moulded on wipers. If you're going down the aftermarket route, maybe someone will come up with a resin clear canopy, which probably would never be as nice as a moulded plastic one. But anyway, hey ho, can't have everything. So there we are. I need to take that up before I put that away. So that's looking at the actual kit comparisons. So we can push all this to one side, get all this out of the way. Doubt if this will ever get built now. So that's the comparisons there. Right. So Resin, the wheelbase. I'm looking at this now, and people have asked, will the Resin fit? Now the wheelbase, obviously, now this one is already fitted in, so you can see the detail on this. This is the Wolfpack Resin wheelbase set WP72049. Just make sure you're not getting glared out. There it is there. Okay. And you can see here the instructions tell you to remove the old wheelbase, which I've done, and then fit the resin replacements. So you can see here, this is the nose bay, and it really is lovely. Yeah, lots and lots of detail in there. And we will look at the new kit parts in a minute, do a comparison. And then these are the main gear bays. This is one of them. You can see again, we've got lots and lots of lovely detail in there, cabling, boxes and bits and pieces. Very nice indeed. Now, something I did notice just before we started this comparison, if you like, I measured the width of the wheelbase, and this wheelbase opening on here is 12.9 millimeters, so 13 millimeters as good as. And if you measure the width of the newer one, it is going to be, because you've got this area inside here, so basically I need to measure, I'm off camera, aren't I? I need to measure from this edge here to that edge there. So if we imagine it's going to be just outside of that, then well, I'll tell you, let's measure this here, because that'll be half of the width, won't it? So from there to there is 7.5, so it's going to be nearly 15 millimeters wide, so it's nearly 2 millimeters wider. But you can see that we do have a bit of a rebate in there, so you might get away with using that. No doubt somebody's going to come up with resin wheelbase for this kit, so you might get away with using that one though if you've got the old one and you want to use it. The actual outside width of that wheelbase is 20 mil, so you've got plenty of room, and it'd just be a case of just removing any, well, there's nothing to remove, just glue it in, job done. In comparison, if you look at the wheelbase here, this is going to be the nose wheelbase, so this is going to be that side, so we're upside down. So you can see that basically, basically we've got some simplified detail in there, and in there, and then the nose wheelbase roof is there, so you can see the resin parts are a lot nicer, but obviously a lot wider. So there we go. So actually the actual main undercarriage leg, which is, God, these sprues are so big and wieldy, or unwieldy should I say. So the main undercarriage leg, or the front undercarriage leg, is 12.6 millimeters wide. So it's going to fit in there okay. So that's going to be no problem. The older kit undercarriage leg, where have you gone? Here it is 11.5. So you may have to just take some off. If you want to use that on the newer kit, you may have to sand some off. Now the main gear, obviously in the older kit you get the main gear moulded into the lower wing and you cut that out, but the actual, you've got the main gear parts, main gear bay parts should I say, here. So there's the roof, here's the sides, and as you can see the resin is a lot nicer, as it would be. It's got rivet detail in there and everything, so yeah, a lot nicer than the kit parts, although the kit parts are perfectly acceptable on their own, you know, particularly for a 72nd scale bomber. Absolutely fine. So there we are. That's the resin wheelbase set, and obviously with this set you get a lot of little bits and pieces here as well, undercarriage doors and everything, so that's all very nice. So that's the resin wheelbase, which looks like, I didn't show you the actual main gear bay. Here's my other wing here. Will fit. I can't remember which way it goes round now. I think it's that way. You can see it will fit in there, no problem at all. You've got no edges showing or anything, but you will have to remove the raised detail to fit this designed to fit the plastic parts. So it will fit, as you can see. It will go in there and look absolutely fine, but you just have to do some surgery to make it fit. Okay, so basically if you've got that resin set for your old model and you want to use it on a new one, it looks like you're good to go. That nose gear, you may need to narrow the nose gear bay down a little bit on the new kit. You know, the wall section, this area here, just add some plastic strip just to narrow it down, to make that bay look alright, because you don't want to see the edges of the resin sticking out here. And then you've got this set here, which is the update set for the Airfix kit, which includes a new tail, okay, resin tail, exhaust, that panel there, which I don't know what the name of it is, it goes in between the engines, that fairing there, that's going to be some sort of ECM fairing or something, and then we've got separate elevators, a separate rudder and a separate fin, top of the fin there. So there's really no point in having this for the newer kit because you've got that in the box anyway. You do get the photo etch parts, which I say photo etch wipers, there we go, straight away. You do get the photo etch parts, and you do get the exhaust, but I'm sure the exhausts in the new kit are fine. You get the tail, which I'm sure in the new kit is fine. You get the rudder, which you already get in the box separately, and you get in elevators, which won't fit because the old kit, as we said, was the flaps were actually shorter in chord and shorter in width. So no point in buying that for the new model, it won't fit. Now the next lot of aftermarket I want to look at, and this is finally, if you're getting bored, we've got this photo etch set, or photo etch and resin set from Flightpath. These are a company, I think they're based over in Wales. So here we've got we've got resin exhaust, which I don't think you're going to need for the new kit. But this is actually a conversion set to turn the B2 into a tanker. So if you wanted to do that, this will allow you to do it. And looking through the instructions, most of the parts, rather than you can see this area here, this is your big lump at the back for the actual tanker part itself. That's going to be glued onto your actual model, so that's going to fit. You may have to do a little bit of surgery to make it fit perfectly on the profile, but it's going to fit, so that's going to be okay. Then Then you've got here, you've got instructions. Now you've got this cockpit canopy framing, which if you want to use the old canopy and sand all that resin, the moulded on detail off, you could use that. Okay, and then you've got your PE wipers, obviously. You've got that looks like a photo etch instrument panel, which is pointless. Yes, it is. There's a photo etch instrument panel, which is going to be absolutely pointless because you're not going to see it. You've got these little vents and grills and everything there. You've got chocks for the wheels, so they're obviously going to fit. Then you've got air brakes here you can use, which is going to be really nice to add to the new model if they're the same size. And what we can do, we can look at that now. So we've got here, let's take this off of here. God blimey. Strong sellotape, weak card. So we can compare the size of this now. Sorry guys, I should have opened this beforehand. But we can look at this now. We can see, you can see you've got these photo etched uprights for the air brakes and that, which are really nice. You can see them there. But will the air brakes actually fit? So let's look at the upper ones first. The big sections are here. Look at that, absolutely perfect. So you won't need that actual outer frame part, I don't think, unless you want to recess this plastic in. But the actual air brakes, the actual vertical part and the air brake itself is going to fit perfectly into those recesses. So you can use this set for the air brakes for sure. You can use the canopy framing because we've seen the canopies, they look the same. If having that as a benefit, because then it'll be easier to sand away those moulded on wiper blades if you want to. Obviously, as I say, wheel chocks are going to fit air brakes. We've got little bits and pieces here which you don't need because you already get them in the kit, although it's nice to have photo etch antenna and stuff. Again, we've got more antenna bits and pieces here. Bomb aimer's viewing panel, so well, it is a viewing panel, so you're getting some framework for that, which is there. And I'm sure that's going to fit the new kit absolutely fine. Where's the clear parts? Where did I put them? There they are. So we'll see how that's going to fit around that. And we can see it's a little bit bigger, it's longer in that plane. It's the same width, but it's longer. And as you can see here, that framing is going to fit on there fine by the look of it. And this you may think it looks a bit odd, but this riveted strip metal look is quite apparent on the Vulcan. If you can see, they've moulded it on here, but I think if you can make this fit, it's going to look a lot better, because the Vulcan, when you look at nose-on versions of views of the Vulcan, it has got this definite metal sort of strip, you know, almost like a train, you know, it's around the canopy. It's very, very clumsy looking. So there we are. So that's all going to fit by the look of it. And then obviously you've got your wiper blades and everything. Undercarriage details you can obviously use. You've got some wheel rim detail here. You've got undercarriage doors. Okay. You've got the access ladder, which is here in photo etch. Now the new kit's got very, very finely moulded parts, so you might decide not to bother with these. You've got grab handles there for the ejection seats, which you may be able to see. If you paint them in yellow and black and everything, you may be able to see, so you could add them. I mean, you could add the instrument panel if you want to add a bit of fun. But other than that, we've got oleo details there for the undercarriage, which I'm sure the new kit's already got. And we've got some other fine detail there, some grille detail. So all in all, I think this, if you want to build a tanker, is worth having it. It looks like it'll fit the newer kit. The only bit that obviously won't fit that I can see is that that framing for the viewer's window. Having said that, this looks, yeah, it looks okay on there. So there we go. So that's that, guys. I've done this purely because a couple of people asked me to do it, so I might only get 2 or 3 views. But that's a comparison of the old kit. It's a comparison of what will fit, quality of moulding, the plastic, will the resin parts fit, will the photo etch fit, and there we go. So that's basically my view on it. As I say, don't take anything I say as written in stone, because, you know, I'm just somebody sat in front of a camera having a look, talking to myself. But there we go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.